Ladies and gentlemen of the old world, I hope you're all doing well, and welcome to this community showdown. It's going to be the Warriors of Chaos led by Martinius facing off against the Ogre Kingdoms, who shall be helmed by Hitman Hippo here on the Haunted Vale. I guess there's some haunting when it comes to Chaos, but should be quite a bit of fun. Two big monsters on the side of Warriors of Chaos, and for Ogres, a bit more of a shooting army. Two Lead Belchers as well as the Powder Guts. So, breaking it down for the Warriors of Chaos here, it is going to be the very, very powerful Hellstriders, the glue that holds together the roster. I mean, they might be okay without it, but they'd be a hell of a lot weaker. On top of that, we do have some Forsaken. Glass Cannon, if they get charged by Ogres or Ogre monsters, they're going to get wrecked, but if they're the ones who do the knocking, they can do quite a bit of work against light armor. Archaon the Ever-Chosen, Burning Head, Ever-Chosen, yes. But he's going to be there with Burning Head. Burning Head is good for clearing out Pigback Riders, right? Because good Ogre players are going to be saturating their monsters and Ogre Bull units with Pigbacks as well as regular Noblars, so clearing them out with a Burning Head and then isolating them with like Archaon and the Shaggoth here, I like that quite a bit. Shaggoth, of course, an anti-large fighter, and the Mutilith Vortex Beast is there to just kind of grind and, yeah, I guess clear out more of the Noblar-type infantry. Really curious to see its applications here. Now for Hitman Hippo, going to be using Blood Vultures. We have 2 units of Saber Tusks, 3 actually, which are, I guess there maybe just to, cost-effectively contest the, oh, wow, look at this, a catch out of the gates. All right, there was a Gorger and Vanguard there that got caught. We're getting right to the action. Okay, so the Gorger is going to get annihilated. Hellstriders are a hard counter against it, or soft counter, I should say. And then you have the Shaggoth as well as the big Mutilith there. So that's basically a karate chopped unit out of the gates. Not the best start in the world for the old Ogre Kingdoms, but the Ogres are they're cunning and they are hungry, so I'm sure they'll be fine. But you know what I really like about this composition is that Blood Vultures are infantry sized. So Blood Vultures will absolutely decimate the Hellstriders in combat. So if you can catch the Hellstriders slipping with Blood Vultures, that's going to be a pretty sweet catch. And Saber Tusks obviously to buffer them out. Lead Belchers and Pigbacks and a Slaughtermaster of the Great Maw. Now the game plan for the Ogre Kingdoms and pretty much most shooting builds in Total War Warhammer Competitive is that you hunker down between 2 objectives, hold them both, and then just shoot your opponent off them, right? That's going to be the status quo. We got 1 or 2 Giga Chad Gorgers over here. These guys still going strong like champs. All right, there they go. That's the last of them right there. But they fought. They're unbreakable. They fight to the bitter end there. Did they do any damage in return? It looks like they did kill maybe 2 Hellstriders, but certainly not going to be great. So Slaughtermaster is going to be hiding in the bushes, keeping the suspense for his opponent, and we do see some Man-Eaters with great weapons coming out. It's a great choice. Man-Eaters are going to be very, very good against the big boys you see on the field. So, of course, the Shaggoth and the Mutilith Vortex Beast. You got to watch out, though. If you do get these guys kind of surrounded and enveloped by the dreaded Hellseekers, it could be quite rough. Did I say They're Hellseekers, right? Hellstriders, man. All over the place. The Seekers, the trauma of facing Slaanesh over and over with all the Seekers and Hellstriders, it's easy to get those bad boys confused. But just like the 13th Warrior, you guys remember that movie? I think it was Antonio Banderas was in that. It's like when the warriors line up in the mountains and you see the torches in the trees. It kind of reminds me of that scene a little bit. Granted, they're not in that type of formation, but just a bunch of scary warriors hiding in the trees, I guess, is the analogy there. But we're going to do some fast forwarding. It looks like it could be a bit of a build-up game. Ogres are going to poke forward, and now maybe that's what Chaos wants. Chaos wants them to overextend and chase that way, and then they'll advance. Yep, see. So they're waiting for you to be kind of pulled out of position a little bit, and then they're going to advance up. Not that it's going to make a huge difference, but the Ogres are actually threatening to take this objective. Now, I don't think that Martinius is going to let him have it. That's for damn sure. Hitman Hippo creeping with 2 Saber Tusks, just kind of threatening the objective a little bit. Micro attacks for the opponent. And we do have the Man-Eaters with Great Opens waiting out in the wings, while the Lead Belchers are just going to be ready to meet these Forsaken head on. Now, Forsaken are, like I said, really good at tearing up Pigback Riders and Noblars, and will trade well into Bulls, because Bulls don't have a ton of armor. But if they get bonked or charged by anything that hits hard, their 20 melee defense is going to fold up pretty quickly. So the quintessential glass cannon, although it's not really fair to call them a glass cannon because they do have 85 armor, so they do have some damage mitigation, but they do tend to get hit a lot. So here on the ground, Saber Tusk packs versus the Hellstriders, and Saber Tusk will lose that fight, but with the Blood Vultures flying over and landing, that's going to massively change the outcome of that fight. And we've seen that from Grand Cathay players and a couple other factions using like Fury equivalent units to do that. Saber Tusk pack does get clipped, and the Hellstriders, of course, would normally lose this, but the Big Daddy Mutilith Beast comes in here and is able to turn the paradigm of that fight. So overall, big win for the Warriors of Chaos right there. They've certainly been coming out a little bit ahead in these engagements. But on the advance, the Forsaken happens getting taken to Pound Town by some of the shooting. These ones down to about 20%. These Forsaken down to about 25%, and they're about to get Iron Gutted. Iron Guts are basically a hard counter against Forsaken. Their high armor and their anti-infantry and armor piercing makes them a very, very ideal counter as they get in there, and they're looking for some meat. I mean, it is mutated, disgusting warp meat, but, you got to take what you can in this world. Old world is unforgiving, as they do say. So Burning Head going down, it does tickle the Forsaken and the Noblars there, so a little bit of damage, as we do see Archaon the Ever-Chosen looking to get into the backfield. On the flank, Hellstriders coming around. I would suspect maybe some Blood Vultures called out to ambush them. But now the big fight is going to be taking place here. I don't think there's any fights going down towards Objective 3. Nope, all 3 objectives belong to the Dark Gods. They're going all in for a stuffing strategy here. Now, Crushers is a great weapon, so that's an expensive one. Crushers are almost, I think they're around like 2,000 gold. They're pretty obscenely expensive, but with their high armor and really good stat line, they should be able to bully away the Hellstriders. But the question is, are the Ogres maintaining their pocket in the middle? Yes is the answer. One Lead Belcher is healthy, Powder Guts are healthy, other Lead Belchers are healthy. Flank intercepted here using the Blood Vultures, and in the epicenter of combat, it looks like the Man-Eaters are holding up the army pretty well. So a battle that was going very badly for the Ogre Kingdoms with the Gorger loss and then the flank loss in the beginning with the Hellstriders versus the Blood Vultures and whatnot. And now it looks like the Ogres have contained the Chaos Army into a very manageable position. The Man-Eaters got their clubs out, and the backfield is under no pressure. Archaon's pretty much the only thing threatening the backfield, and now he's being shot by the old nasty Powder Guts right there, so he's going to need an attack order here in a quick old second. On the backside, Hellstrider's called out. I would imagine they'll be sent in as the Crusher's going to be sweeping across the battlefield, and Archaon has been given an order, so he's going to go after the Lead Belchers here. Not much that could fight him except Crushers. If the Crushers decide to turn around and fight him, they absolutely could, but at this point, maybe you just run the Lead Belchers away and try and bide your time. Hard to say, but in the pit fight, value trading's kind of even. The Shaggoth is getting very smashed up by the shooting. It's been the target priority for what appears to be the Powder Guts for a long time, and they hit very, very hard. But the Man-Eaters do get worn down. The Ogre position does inevitably break. The Forsaken and, regular Dragon Ogre Shaggoths. Super cool to see that, but they're going to be advancing up. Burning Head going to be cascading forward. I think that might have been a miscast there, or not a miscast, but a bit of a slip up on the angle. Oh no, he's probably just trying to get rid of the Noblars so he could push through. But let's look on the flank here. We do see the dreaded Crushers on their way in, and at the back, Archaon the Everchosen attempting to shut down the Lead Belchers there. Hellstriders definitely need to be given an order, and there they go. You can see the panic order has been given. So side objective, it is going to be going to the Saber-Tusk pack, maybe. Is there anything to contest this? Dragon Ogre Shaggoth for the Warriors of Chaos has returned, and I do wonder if Martinius has brought the old Nurgle caster in reserve. But all 3 objectives do still belong to Chaos. It's very, very tough for the Ogres. And even though they are getting a little bit of ground and pulling ahead in value, and they have Meat Feast too, so they have a ton of healing. And, obviously on top of that, the Slaughtermaster, the Great Maw. But we're going to see. So a lot of anti-large pressure, Crushers as well as Man-Eaters. Mutalith Vortex Beast is still very much active. And the Dragon Ogre Shaggoth, where is it going to be going? It's just kind of hanging out. It looks like it broke again and then may have rallied over here on the far side. And here we got a big old pit fight. Archaon, the Everchosen, fighting with the boys. He's got some Marauder Horsemen right here. But aside from that, he does kind of stand alone a little bit and does not want to be battling Crushers. They have a pretty nutty bonus versus large. Yeah, it's plus 30. So when they're bonking on big targets, man, it's going to hurt. So is that going to be a heal right there? It looks like it is. So the Crushers have actually not lost any models, so that's going to be an incredibly cost-effective heal. Warriors of Chaos do still have some map control, and the Saber-Tusks on the outside that were attempting to get into that objective were hunted and harried down here by the Hellstriders, which is good. A couple of special operations, Noblars or Pigbacks right here trying to get objective 2, but I don't think the Spec Ops play is going to work. Chaos will probably notice that and push them off, because, if you're going for a stuffing strategy like this, it's uber important to make sure that you keep your opponent off the objectives as long as you humanly can. It's definitely the big one. So Powder Gut's going to be getting attacked, but the remnants of some Crushers and some Pigback Riders. I mean, Pigback Riders have been nerfed, but they're still very strong. And right as I say that, you guys make them look bad. They run away. But, it's a big terror-causing monster, and they're pretty low. So they're going to be fleeing. And Crushers coming in to try and help. Losing Powder Guts here would suck pretty bad, because Powder Guts are still Man-Eaters, so they themselves are really good against armored infantry like Forsaken and can definitely put up a good fight. But Martinius definitely is cackling away right now. Looking at this objective, we do see Hitman Hippo threatening to get that. Value is very, very even. Can the Ogre Kingdom stabilize this? It does seem like Archaon is going to be scaling a little bit better in the late game, although the Hellstriders get routed, the Crushers stabilize, Powder Guts have gotten away, and the Pigback Riders are getting some nice prison shanking into the Mutilith Beast. So maybe there's something, and there was a healthy unit of Crushers I did not see. All right, this is still anybody's game. This is going to be a really close one, actually. I didn't see that there was a full health Crusher unit over there when I was drawing my conclusions, but this is going to be a dodgy one. All right, Mutilith Vortex Beast pulling back. Dragon Ogres and Archaon. Man, how erect would we be if there was just a massive fleshy abundance right here? That would be so freaking good on the Dragon Ogre, as well as the... Because I feel like the Burning Head and the Searing Doom aren't like super good against these guys, and maybe just going for like just Spirit Leech and Archaon with a Nurgle caster could have been a little bit stronger. But again, just kind of thinking out loud here. On the backside, a couple of Hellstriders get nailed with Dismember, putting him down to 40 speed, and then the Ogres are coming to get you. Now, Iron Guts aren't, like, amazing against Cavalry, but, like, these guys are kind of squishy, and there's also some Saber-Tusks in here, so they should be able to take them to Pound Town. And, yeah, their pound is indeed being stretched. So on the backside, Man-Eaters out of ammunition. They are going to be charged by some Horsemen, which is kind of funny because it's like a... Okay, they're not charging, they're throwing. That'd be a good fight for these guys. In the middle fight, Crushers do extend with some Pigback Riders and push back the Dragon Ogre Shaggoth. but Archaon is doing his best to put this game on his back, and if any character can, Archaon is a raid boss. I really like that the quintessential main character of the faction, who's like the big centerpiece, is actually good. It's always depressing when you get some like cool legendary lord and they're just like worse than the generic lords. I mean, but you also want the generic lords to be viable. You don't want it to always just be the same thing, right? Meta diversity is a good thing. Running away is the Mutalith Vortex Beast. Being harried and chased by the dreaded Pigback Riders, the most forbidden unit in all of the old world. You get 2 8-year-olds in a trench coat, and they're able to take down giant monstrosities of the warp. Yeah, that's totally how this would go. But, I mean, they are shanking in. It is a lot. There are a lot of them. You know, I guess it's like 100 8-year-olds with daggers stabbing at your heels here. But there's the usage of Burning Head. Pretty good. Going to clear out those Pigback Riders, and it looks like another Dragon Ogre Shaggoth was called out from not the warp, but from the Chaos Waste here. Martinius going to be sitting at a value lead, but the Ogres are getting momentum back. We do see that the Warriors of Chaos have a little bit of a Death Star of Archaon, the Muty Beast, as well as the Dragon Ogre Shaggoth. And what's probably going to happen is the Ogres are going to recap objectives 2 and 3, and then they're going to make a valiant last stand on this objective. As a unit of Iron Guts does get taken down, that's not a cheap unit. Iron Guts are 1,000 gold. So those guys getting surrounded and taken to town and by the big scary Muty Beast is super cool. Now, what other debuffs does the Mutalith Beast have? The Armor of Morcar, pretty cool to see that, giving charge reflection. That's something I've never really messed with. Okay, so it does have the disoriented effect. So even if it's not like fighting he thinks that it's good against, it still can apply a stat debuff, which isn't irrelevant. So yeah, as it currently stands, the Ogres are going to need to go for this, guys. We're going to fast forward while they gather. They're going to Benny Hill and just gather their forces, and then the final battle is going to be upon us. Pigbacks, obviously you want to send them in first. Forsaken can kill Pigbacks, and the Mutalith and Archaon getting a big Burning Head as well. But this is going to be for all the marbles, ladies and gentlemen. Slaughtermaster, the Great Maw, definitely needs to move up. I think it'd be nice for him to come and maybe help in combat, even though he's not great. At this point, you're do or die. You know, you gotta go all in, right? On the backside, Marauder Horsemen going to be screening out reinforcements, and the old Pigback Riders and Saber Tusks are duking it out. Crushers also in combat, disoriented right now, probably have gotten some decent value, about 1100 this game. And I like this interference here, this screen being run by the Marauder Horsemen. Burning Head activated, that's going to be cooking, a really, really nice one. Beautiful cast there, so yeah, maybe the Burning Head is the way to go. Martinius, of course, probably a better Chaos player than I am at this point. That is for damn sure. And Pigback Riders here getting worn down. Powder Guts getting a little bit low as well. It's a tough fight, but it looks like the Warriors of Chaos may clutch it, although I don't know. With the Man-Eaters arriving in Saber-Tusk packs, there's still a fair amount of time left, around 2 minutes, give or take, a little bit less. But yeah, these guys are going to be problems for sure. Saber-Tusks and Powder Guts fighting, Archaon still going. I don't know, it's going to be a capture weight situation. I mean, in a sustained fight, Chaos would win this because Archaon, Shaggoth, as well as Muty Beast, but you know, there is the capture weight variable. Saber-Tusks do bounce out, but that's going to be favoring the Warriors of Chaos, as Hellstriders against Saber-Tusks one-on-one will favor the Hellstriders. And here comes the pit fight of the pit fights, ladies and gentlemen. 1430, Forsaken coming in for capture weight. Ogres calling in Blood Vultures for just DPS to try and win the fight. Blood Vultures descending on the Hellstriders is a good call. And how's this looking? Dude, the Armor of Morcar, how cool is that? I've never seen that. I don't know if I've ever seen that used. But it gives melee defense and charge reflection, but I don't know how relevant that's going to be. So Pigback's creeping in, looking at the score, 50 seconds left, so a little bit less than a minute here for the Ogre Kingdoms to take the L. Blood Vultures cleaning out those Hellstriders, but the capture weight still very much in the favor of the Warriors of Chaos, and that is going to be a tap out. GG, well played. You know, that was a great game on both sides. It looked like the Ogres were going to take some rough engagements in the beginning and lose quickly. You know, they lost the Gorger, their Hellstrider, or they lost that flank engagement with the Blood Vulture and the Saber Tusk. But then he scrapped back, got some good value, you know, got some excellent shooting, stabilized in the pocket like a freaking NFL quarterback. But at the end, he couldn't deal with the Death Star. And Archaon he could be a big bully. Like, if you don't have a character or something that can really contest him in combat, he can just kind of like dictate fights, which is cool to see. And that's as it should be. Hellstrider's good value. Shaggoth did okay. Muty Beast. Whoa, shit. Okay, I guess Mutalith Beast is good here. 4,000 value. Goddamn. All right, you live and you learn, man. Taking notes. Looking on the other side here, we do have the Lead Belchers. Probably did good. 1,000 value. 1,200. 3,700 on Powder Guts. Goddamn. It almost makes me think maybe like just another unit of Ogre Pistols. It's really good. Jeez Louise. And 1,700 on these guys. Crushers, 900, 1,300. So Crushers kind of underperformed for how expensive they are. All right, guys. See you around. GG, well played. Hopefully you enjoyed this sweaty one, and we'll see you on the other side.